Guys, hello. Recording a session. This is not me playing, this is me speaking over a session that I have played. I did the whole thing, recorded it, chatted over it, gave commentary, and then didn't record the sound. So a bit of a newbie error, but it is what it is. So table 3, managed to get a set, and awesomely they flopped. They turned another set, so managed to stack them. Kind of a cooler, but nice to run good in situations like that. That's the way it is. So some of these hands I can't remember. Some of them I can remember quite well. So ace queen, I probably would check call this. I'm not the pre-flop raiser. I have a flush draw. Obviously, 2 over, sorry. So easy check call. They're a pretty aggressive player, but I think I'm saying now at one point that on the river they don't bluff. So I will see what happens. Can't quite remember, but it's interesting. So for one of the things that I'm trying to sort of put into my game, I'm never really sure what to do. So say I have ace queen, ace king, ace 10. Do I c-bet on like a low flop? Do I c-bet when it's not connected? Versus player type, I'm really not sure. And I think those hands for me is I think they're like bluff catchers. But then you give up some equity if you check, but then you can induce. So it's kind of like a balance between the two. I think I'm taking a bluff line on this. I think I'm choosing to take ace queen and hoping to get something like, I don't know, a worse hand to fold. Aggro player, table 1, like doing some silly 3-betting, awful sizing, so I think I have to call with my ace deuce. Pretty straightforward. Flop a flush draw. So I was thinking about check raising, but now they bet out pot. I'm going to call and reevaluate. Check again. And as far as I'm right, I'm pretty sure they fire out again. They like smash the pot. It's a bit of a tricky one because I don't have some decent equity, but it's a paired board, so I have reverse implied odds, and it's a little bit too soon to work out what type of player. Table 3, playing 50 NL on table 3. I found some reasonably good tables. I think I'm probably going to leave this one soon because there's not many decent fish to play against. But this player, table 1, he folds 69% in the small blind versus big blind versus small blind, which is just an auto steal. So this is just an example of someone who's a 50 NL player, but they fold. In my opinion, they're a bad player. Table 1, I would have called my Jack 9 suited. I think it's reasonably fair. I get a discount to call against someone who's quite aggressive. I don't really flop anything, so I don't want to play, use that part of my range to do anything. So I don't get involved. I would definitely, looking at this now, if I was playing the hand again, table 2, I would 3-bet for value. Not for value, sorry, as a bluff, as a linear, fucking hell, as a polar bluff. So this board doesn't connect very well with their range. So I think I probably would c-bet. I want, the ace 10s, the ace, all that kind of stuff to fold. So I will let it go. King. So table 1, I take it down on table 2. So table 1 against a villain who is very aggressive. I am never folding. I am literally check calling all the way to the river. There's nothing more to say. I play with this player quite a lot in this session. I think they're a really good player. They're typical of a very aggro, aggro monkey. They bet twice. I choose to bet, I think 5. so half pot. I'm literally looking for crying calls like ace highs, small pocket pen pairs, and they actually have, from what I remember, I think it's ace nine off. So I'm not surprised that they didn't barrel. They were probably bluff catching, which is a reasonable strategy. Actually, there's misdraws there, so it's not bad. I don't mind it. I think I just outflop them on that hand. They are pretty bad. Ace nine off's not great. Excuse me. My commentary while I was playing was a lot better. I was a lot more pumped up. Ace King, table 2, stole from the cutoff. Again, this is one of those hands where I'm not quite sure if I should c-bet or if I should check back. All of my hands, Ace King beats all the bluffs. It is the ultimate bluff catcher, so I see no reason to bet them half the time. The only reason to bet them is to fold out worse hands that have equity against you, but I'm just a little bit confused on when I should be doing that and when I shouldn't be doing that. I flop a flush draw and I call, which is pretty standard. They check, and I'm pretty sure I choose to check back. There's a lot of hands that they can have that are bluffs that they would have just taken a stab and called, and it's kind of part of my line with Ace King. There is merits to betting. I try and get hands to fold. They actually had pocket fives, which I thought was a reasonably good play at the time. I think they have a open-ended straight draw. They had you have to bet for protection, so it's not bad. I think they've got a reasonable amount of money out of me there, which is pretty good. King 10, I probably 3x on the button versus a fishier player. Normally I would 2x it with regs in the blinds, but I'm going to leave it. Table 1, I'm just probably commentating on about how these players are losing player over 37,000 hands minus 18 or whatever it is. Table 2, definitely check back on this board. Ace high is it's good to have ace X in your checking back range, and they donked me on table 1. Don't worry, I get my own back on that orange dude, so don't you worry. I played an interesting hand against him. Try and pick up some money. He actually has ace queen, which is interesting because I think that I would be betting ace queen there. I think it's a little bit passive to check back, but just the way it is. So I'm kind of so I think personally I played the ace 8 good. I think I played it well. Considering the blockers and what I've got, it's hard to have another ace. So yeah, it's not too bad. I think I'm just going through my reasoning, the thought process for the ace X hand that I gave you just a second ago. Table 2 is probably a reasonably steal with ace 5 off against a regular sort of opponent. It's not in my defending for that. Ace 5 off is not a defend. It's not a 3-bet. It's not a 4-bet. It's not a call. So I'm just going to let it go. If I was doing that, I'd be defending far too much of my range with ace X off. So let's just do a go. King 7, I would definitely steal. They're still they fold a reasonable amount, but I still have a king. So even if they do call, I have some equity with my high card, and they will fold often. So that's my justification. I think that's what I'm saying at the time. So I'll definitely raise with that hand. Going through my thought process, I think I make a note on the player. 7-5, table 2's fold in my eyes, and I think I time out. I can't remember if I go and sit back in or if I swap any players out. Probably choose to leave because the players aren't great. Excuse me. It's like 2:30 in the morning now. So been working a lot, been working really hard, haven't had much chance to grind at all. Like normally I'd be quite lucky in the fact that I'd be able to play for like 1 or 2 hours a day at work, just because of the nature of my job, but recently it's been so busy that I haven't even had a chance to think. So it is pretty cool having a job that when it does get busy, it is awesome, but it's hard work at the same time. So for those who don't know, I work in I'm like a video editor, special effects operator on TV commercials, and we are doing a big job for the new Mitsubishi advert, and I'm kind of like the lead operator for it. So I have like a team of people working alongside another sort of creative director, so we're sort of working in tandem, but it is pretty stressful. And on top of that, I'm doing also the idents for the Channel 4 intro outro for the documentary series for Mitsubishi, so it is literally busy, and quite stressful, but pretty cool at the same time. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been doing. I've been on 2 shoots in the last 3 weeks, which is pretty hectic. Shoots are pretty stressful because you need someone to give you constant feedback. I don't know, it's like, yeah, you're there to VFX supervise all the shots. I think there was an interesting hand that just went down where I called down. So actually what I might do is just stop the video real quick, and I might go back to the hand, unless this is it. Unless this is a hand. Oh no, that's another hand. I'm going to quickly find the hand and go back and go over my thought process over this hand. Oh, what's going on? So 2 seconds, I will pause. Oh my god. So I was talking a lot of shit, and that interesting hand hasn't come up. It's just about to come up now. So table 1, I flat with King Jack suited. I think it's pretty standard. There is an argument for 3-betting, but I want to sort of give. There's a good argument for 3-betting actually, because King Jack against their range is pretty good, but they're the kind of person that barrels a lot. So I flat just because this person is a 78-59 and aggression of 78 over, so 28 hands, which is not much, but I think that I can properly call. There's so much shit hands in their range, like tons. Like, you know, if you think about their range at the moment is 59% of the possible hands, so that's a lot of shit cards. So I choose to check and check call. I have a gut shot now, so this is one of the reasons that I call. So I do have like some equity in this call. I'm not just calling him a king high. So I think I'm probably explaining this now. I call eventually. Now I comment about the ace. So the ace, for me, I think when it flops is a good card, because that means they've got less ace X, so there's less ace high in their range. There's like, so basically, if they barrel that many hands, they either have now some like ace queen blah 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 that they're barreling all the way through, or, which is what I'm saying now in the video when I originally caught it and fucked the voiceover up, they have nothing and they just literally just bluff. And with this call, I need to be right 33% of the time. So I choose to make the call with king high against this opponent, which I'm explaining, and I'm kind of talking as I'm playing. I'm talking myself into making this call, and they have 7-5 off for a busted gut shot, which I was very happy about making that call. I think that was a good read against that opponent, and not even ace high call down, but king high call down is pretty sweet. So yeah, super happy about that call. Yeah, that doesn't happen every day, but that's nice. Let's go back and have a quick look at the hand. Yeah, I'm really a bit gutted that I didn't record the audio, because the commentary that I gave, like going through, was just sort of a sick rant about life and poker and everything, and now I'm sort of rehashing all that bullshit that I was going on about before. But that's the way it is. Table 1, I choose to ISO min raise with ace-9 off. I call and flop the nut flush draw with the pair. I just like to check call against the fishy player. This is the question. This is a difficult call, and I was really umming and ahhing about it. And I thought, you know what? I've got reasonable equity. I've got a pair. This guy could just be steaming. So again, I choose to call. I'm not sure if they have a king, if they have a queen. I'm not sure if I have the right odds. They could even have me crushed with a straight. But I do have equity. I have the nut flush draw, so I sort of talked myself into calling, which I do. And then I flop the nut flush, which is, I river the nut flush, which is awesome. You know, only a 10 of clubs beat me. Where it is, they jam, I call, and they had queen 6, I think. Queen 6 off, yeah, for, you know, so I was very lucky in that hand. I think, you know, I would have folded the river, obviously, if I didn't improve, but, you know. So that's the way it is. I choose to sit out immediately on table 1 just because you don't want to play with regs any longer than you have to. You sit and find the weaker players and you beat the shit out of them and then you move on. I imagine that's what I'm saying now. I probably wait a little bit of an orbit just to see if they reload, but normally in my experience fish just sit there and steam and, you know, smash a mouse or a keyboard and then they leave. But yeah, table 2 I let's check behind this. We're 4-way. I'm saying something like UTG. This is interesting. UTG cannot have an ace when he bets that flop. He cannot have an ace. Because there's a flush draw there and we are multi-way, so an ace is definitely betting out there. So I think there's some kind of equity. There could be kings. It could be king, you know, king of hearts. It could be some kind of equity that has, you know, that has 9s beat. So it's not a flop that I can call, which is a bit of a ball ache. But that's just the way it is. Trying to find some more tables that were, you know, good to play on. I did have a good few 50 and L50 tables, which I ended up playing. I did alright at 1 earlier in the session. I managed to get half a stack off someone in a 3-bet pot, which I think a 3-bet ace 7 off, big blind versus small blind. I checked the ace high flop with a top pair, no kicker, and they bet turn, which I managed to call and then call again on the river, and they had nothing, which is nice. I think I'm talking about the player with the sort of blue and the bluey sort of bluey green. They're my in between fish. They're not a fish. They're not a reg. They are somewhere in between. They are probably on the way to becoming a reg, but they still have loads of bad habits. It's actually quite hard to get money out of these people because they're still tight. They're not tight-ish. They're pretty shit, to be honest. But they're not a fish. They don't follow the fish rules. So you can't pigeonhole them. They're not aggro. They're not an aggro fish. They're not a passive fish. They're just a shit regular. But it's actually quite hard to get money out of them. They don't fold the blinds, so you can't sit them up in the blinds. You can't sit next to them. They're probably best to have in seat, you know, where they are now. This is a good position. They're like an extra add to the table. I wouldn't purposely sit down with one unless it's, you know, out of hours time and that's all I can find. I will sit with them, but they're normally like an add to the table. They're not the main draw. Table 2, someone put E, and I thought maybe they're just being nice or bullshitting with my name, so I thought I'd chat back and say hello, because I think it's good to chat to the fish and trying to get them chatty and making them feel at ease at the table, have fun, because you want to eventually keep their custom. Table 3, kings, pretty standard. Polar, it's a polar 3-bet this. Yellows, they've got the possibility to, they've got big folds of 4 bets, so they're quite nice to sort of plan the 3-bet buffer game against. I think I tank bet table 3, and table 1 is a bet for value, definitely. I think I'm saying, actually, because this is interesting, the table, the villain is, I have 1.4k on the villain, and their Falter's C-bet is 32, and then it is 0-0. So they call, and they always call, but then I think I look into the sample size, and I think the sample size is, the actual sample is skewed. I think I'm talking about all of this, and I've now just realised this is the time when I time out with kings on table 2, which is just fucking annoying considering there's a fish in this big blind, and I think that's just terrible. So when I'm rabbiting on, I'm timing out with kings. Look at my time here, it's gone. Bullshit. I'm an idiot. So anyway, that was a bit stupid. But there you go, because there's definitely a stacking opportunity against the big blind. A7, table 1, definitely a fold. The table's too reggy. In fact, I'm probably even thinking about leaving. I've already ticked the leaving box, so I'm out. Fish is bust. Just sit and find another one. That's kind of my game plan. I think I've now realised that I've that I've folded kings under the gun on table 2, which is just really, really bad. But anyway, it'd be interesting if he had 8s. I don't know. I don't think this hand goes to showdown. But yeah, I could have lost a stack. So maybe it was just fate. Who knows? I've tagged him as a whale already. They're pretty bad. Ace 9, table 1, 50 and L, open for 0.3. I think it's pretty standard. What I found weird on earlier before I started recording was that I couldn't quite work out the optimal bet sizing in game for 50 and L. My head is so tailored to 25 now that I've just got these optimal, 25 and 16. So my head is just tailored to these open and bet sizes, and I was like, shit, what is the right 3-bet amount for 50 and L? And I sort of had this weird like blank of, what is my optimal opening size. Table 1, this is quite good. I think this is a reasonable thing that I'm going on about. So I originally see the open seat to the right of the now big button, but I choose to sit to and have them on my right because they're an aggro sort of. They're not an aggro fish, but they're an aggro reg. Right, so I have them to my right, so I don't have to have a. So I have position on them, and then I have what is a suspected fish. Like anybody under 100 BBs is just immediate fish. They just get tagged green, and that's just the way it is. I'm swapping out. I have to have 250 tables at the top, 25 tables at the bottom. I like to sort of color code everything and make it look nice and organised. I think I'm explaining now, table 1, that my thoughts for seat position. Table 4, easy call with jacks. Not quite sure if I should 3-bet there. I don't think I should. I'm sort of against 3-betting jacks versus MP and UTG now, unless they're a mega fish. I was reading a lot of Jawanda's book, applications no limit, especially the range section, which I find really interesting. I think it's yeah, I think it's really good, and I'm very surprised about how much he calls in for his range out of the small blind versus big blind. He's got a massive. He really calls quite a lot, and I can kind of see why you would now, because there's tons and tons of middling cards, pocket sevens, jack 10 off, stuff like that. If you don't have a squeezy blind, or even better, like a fishy big blind, then you should flat these hands rather than just fold them, because I'm definitely much of a 3-better fold out of the small blind, but now I'm sort of thinking that I should have a little bit more of a flatting range out of the small blind. And it's only recently that is sort of in the last 2 days that I think that's possibly something to do. The only thing I think that when you shouldn't do it is versus an accomplished reg who will literally go, your range is capped, there's no way that you don't have aces, there's no way you don't have kings. So it's kind of I think it's a good strategy versus weak regs and fish, basically. I think, sort of semi-aggro fish, like the guy that is in table 1 to my immediate right. He's a good person to flag against, because they're just a bit bad. But they're not wise enough to work out actually what you're doing. Yeah, so something else that I've started doing actually is if someone opens and they check the turn and then they call turn, flop and turn, I will definitely, depending on the board, I'll definitely find a third barrel, because my strategy is that if I check call, I am literally trying to bluff catch with my either under pairs or weak top pair. So I think I can barrel 3 streets confidently against that range, because I don't think you can take the heat. However, it's got to be, player dependent and all that kind of stuff. Oh, so I think I've got a few more minutes to go. And then we'll wrap it up. 10-8 probably would consider flatting against the button open. But I think that the small blind 3-bets. Small blind has got my like that sizing. If you're polar with that sizing, that's terrible, because you're giving your bluffs a terrible size. So in my opinion, that's just a linear range against what looks like a fish, which is fine. This is exactly what I would do. Like my linear range, I think I add 2 or 3 BBs to my range, because I'm betting for value, so I want them to call. But with my polar range, I'm betting a lot smaller, because I've either got the nuts or nothing, so it's giving my bluffs a great price. So I sort of balance it that way. Definitely mid open. Queen jack. Table 3. I think I get 3-bet actually here. Ace queen, probably 3x this, because I have fish, or suspected fish. I get called. Again, something I've been going on about with flatting, with checking back with ace jack, ace 10, sort of bluff catches. I'm not quite sure what to do with those hands, because you get called by better. Queen jack is not in my flatting range. If they had like a 16, 17%, I think I would consider flatting with queen jack, but they've got a 9, so a 9 sort of linear with a little bit of polar mixed in there, so I choose to fold. I think I call again, So, sorry, ace queen I check back. I induce a bet from, so it's either a reasonable hand or nothing. If they check, I'll definitely check behind. They bet, and I think I call with ace high. Again, I need something like, with that bet size, probably 27%, something like that. So I'm not quite sure what they've got. I only richly have like 6 hands, so. But I think I choose to call with ace queen and bluff catch. So that's kind of like my line with ace queen, and so instead of c-betting, I use it as a bluff catcher. Same with ace king, ace jack, ace 10 I may bet, but I don't know. I think I'm talking myself into call. I think I am, so I call. Do I call? Ooh, got a call. And I call. Oh yeah, and I win with ace 6, which is pretty sweet. So I win with ace high. Absolutely love calling down with ace high. It's just, sometimes it's so, I don't know, just like, I got you with ace high, sucker. You know, it's a bit of attractive. It's kind of like, there's something quite cool about doing it and juicing and just thinking, you know, I've got you with ace high. Well, I got that dude with king high earlier, but it's quite a nice thing. I don't know if I've lost, if that's the end of the recording or not. So hold on 1 second. Yeah, I'm out. So guys, it's been a bit of a shame, because I would love you to hear the commentary, but I've done this, and hopefully this will be interesting for you guys to listen to. But okay, cool. Take it easy, and hopefully it's not too long either. Right, cheers.